Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Outside In, the Rise of the Inside Sales Team. My name is Chad Collette and I lead the marketing team here at Ledgeview Partners, a Microsoft Dynamics Gold partner and a Salesforce Silver Consulting partner. In this session, first presented at the CRM conference in Milwaukee, Wisconsin last fall, you will learn how inside sales can take your organization to the next level. Our presenter, Greg Dove, a creator of highly effective inside sales programs across North America, we'll review industry trends, success factors, watch-outs, and key metrics and dashboards that can help you achieve your sales goals that you only thought possible from an outside sales team. And with that, I'd like to welcome today's presenter, Greg Dove, General Manager of Ledgeview's Inside Sales Customer Care Division. Greg, thanks for joining us today.
With that said, let's jump right into it. So today I'd like to go over the following topics with you. We're going to give you an understanding of the role of inside sales, and we're going to do that by reviewing some inside sales facts and success factors. We'll take a closer look at the difference between customer service and inside sales. We'll help call out some inside sales myths and pitfalls. We'll give you some key benefits of inside sales, discuss some best practices. We'll look at some tools for inside sales, one of the most important ones being CRM, and then we'll review some case studies. So, some quick inside sales facts. Inside sales is growing at 300% faster than outside sales. And this is really an evolving trend and something that, quite frankly, has been happening for the last 15 to 20 years. An inside sales call can actually cost $50 versus an outside sales call, which is closer to $308 per call. So right there you can see a huge cost savings on an inside sales call versus an outside sales call. In 2007, it took an average of 3.6 call attempts to reach a prospect. Today it takes around 8 attempts. The average salesperson only makes 2 attempts to reach a prospect. And recently, just to show you how impactful inside sales is, IBM has been a big advocate of inside sales, and they recently rebranded their inside sales to the term digital sales team. So if IBM is doing it and other leaders in the business community, you know it's something that's here to stay. Some of the success factors that you must do to be successful with inside sales: develop a clear job description and have very separate recruiting practices. You need to have a defined process for your inside sales, and you must adhere to this process by following up with coaching and monitoring. Selling tools are a huge component of inside sales, and the few most popular ones are having a CRM. In fact, I will not work with a company for inside sales unless they have an active CRM. It's that important. And then it's also a really good idea to have very clear call guides and scripts to help you through the call, and also to have analytics. And one quick note there: by call guides and scripts, we don't want to sound like a automated machine on these calls, but we do want to have some very good go-to statements and a good flow to the call to make sure we're hitting all the key points. Metrics are a huge component with inside sales, just like they are with a normal sales team. So make sure that you have clear-cut metrics and goals and follow them. Another real important thing is the business model depends upon inside sales to succeed. So smart companies know that inside sales is not an experiment, and they use inside sales to really become an integral part of their sales team and leverage that to further their success as a sales organization. So one of the important learnings throughout my career has really been the difference between customer service and inside sales. And this is something that a lot of organizations, they tend to kind of mash these roles together. So I think it's important to take a look at each one clearly. Customer service, your typical profile for a customer service agent would be that person does not have a degree. It's very typical, an entry-level position at an hourly wage. A customer service person is usually very prone to listening and customer serving, because odds are they're dealing with some type of customer issue, so they want to show empathy and a real caring type personality towards that customer. They're very reactive, and transactional in nature, and typically their product knowledge is basic. And this isn't to belittle the role of customer service by any means, but this is typically what I see in the interest in the industry. And as you look at a typical inside sales person, we recommend that they have a minimum of an associate's degree. They're going to be an integral part of the sales team. It's a skilled position, and usually it is a salaried position, but I will caution you that there's a lot of legislation going on right now, so this may change. So if you're looking to add an inside sales position, make sure you work closely with HR and understand if it should be a salaried or hourly position for your organization. Typically, an inside salesperson is much more tenacious and aggressive than a customer service rep, and this is what you want in someone who's going to be selling for your organization. They're proactive and probing, really looking to surface those customer needs and pain points so they can sell products or services to meet those needs. They're going to have a real skill for relationship building, which is important. And then finally, they're going to have an in-depth product and industry knowledge. And one of the best ways for me to tell you what an inside sales person should be is they should be exactly like your outside salesperson, but they're doing it over the phone. Inside sales myths and how to do it right. So companies I've worked with oftentimes feel there are no qualified inside sales candidates in their area, and that's really based on their geography. But the reality is there are inside sales candidates in just about every market that you would see. And a lot of times you may not have a huge inside sales organization in your area, but there may be several businesses, you know, maybe even in your own area that have an inside sales presence. So my recommendation is that you put together a ad for a qualified inside salesperson, and you'll be really surprised by the applicants that you do receive. Another common myth is that customers will only buy if the sales rep calls on them on a regular basis, and by call I mean a regular in-person visit. The reality of that is many customers just don't have the time to spend with sales reps anymore, especially in today's business climate. That, you know, the business lunches and the golf games are really becoming a thing of the past. So inside sales is a great way to interact with your customers, and many times customers appreciate that they can do it over the phone in a much expedited manner. So my recommendation is that you know your customers and adjust accordingly. We certainly don't want to take your largest customer and right away move them to inside sales because we don't want to lose customers. But take a look and understand who your customers are, and I think you'll see a nice, you know, cutting point where you have customers that would be ideal for inside sales. Inside sales is only good at finding new customers. I couldn't tell you how many times in my career I've had people say, all right, let's get inside sales going. I can't wait to get them on the phone to call and start getting me new customers. And while prospecting or lead generation is certainly a capability of inside sales, we recommend that if you're going to start up a true inside sales team, you should focus on your existing customers first and make sure that you're serving them adequately, and then look and see how lead generation or prospecting can become a part of that team. So again, know your customers and have a plan, but make sure you are looking at your existing customers first, and then look at how prospecting can help you from an inside sales perspective. And frankly, quite often it is a different skill set between an inside sales rep who does prospecting or lead generation and an inside sales rep who does account management, so you also want to be aware of that. So some of the myths and how to do it right. I can tell you one of the #1 reasons people fail when it comes to launching an inside sales program is because they let inside sales become a dumping ground for other tasks and projects. So my recommendation is, if you make a decision to have an inside sales rep or build an inside sales team, let them do their job, give them clear-cut goals, and let them focus on that role, and don't take them and pull them and put them on other projects, because that'll just get you going off in the wrong direction, and you will not see the success that you could see if you let them focus on their role. Don't begin prospecting until you have your existing customers stabilized. So like I said previously, make sure you understand what your existing customers, what they are, what your opportunities are, and exhaust all of those before you move into prospecting. Another real common mistake is don't hire from within your organization for an inside sales role and then expect them to carry on with their existing duties. If you're going to take a person from somewhere in your organization, put them in an inside sales role, my recommendation is you have that position completely backfilled, and once you have that done, then you launch your inside sales. Because again, we want your inside salesperson to have clear-cut goals and have the full time to go ahead and go after those goals. We talked about making inside sales an integral part of your sales organization. So to that point, we want to create a team mentality versus a us versus them. And I can tell you that in every sales organization, when inside sales is brought up, the first thing outside sales people do is say, uh-oh, this is a threat. And if you do it right and help them be a part of the process, they will know that it's not there to replace them, but it's there to augment the overall effectiveness of the sales organization. So make sure you do it right. And then finally, don't train an inside sales rep differently than you do an outside rep. Because again, in my definition, the only difference between the two is one is doing it face-to-face and the other person is doing it over the phone. So make sure you give them all the necessary training to begin, and make sure you include them in all training going forward. So some of the key benefits of inside sales, it allows for greater focus on larger, more strategic accounts. And if you look at the two illustrations here, you'll see on the left we have before inside sales. We have 187 transactional customers, 120 strategic customers, 228 contacts. It's 18% of the gross profit, or that could be 18% of the revenue. Over time, there's some cross-selling opportunities. 90% of the time is on existing accounts, and they're doing new accounts when they can. So that's before inside sales. And if you look at the illustration on the right, after inside sales, you'll see that it's 16% of the gross profit, 120 of the strategic accounts. Now we have much more time for cross-selling, much more time for going after new accounts, and we can also focus on senior contacts within that organization. And in most organizations where I've seen inside sales be very impactful, creating it allows your existing outside sales reps to not only, one, become more strategic with their larger customers, but it may also allow you to put additional resources into your key or largest accounts. So inside sales will not only increase sales, but it will allow your key outside salespeople to become more focused and more dedicated growing your business. So some of the other benefits of inside sales, it creates a more efficient sales organization. So the time savings of calling multiple accounts over the phone during the day versus driving from one geography to another, wherever the accounts are located, it is so much more efficient that you'll be amazed at how many more targets you're reaching in a day. Obviously, it's going to help increase profitability for all customers because you're now becoming much more efficient and handling many more sales calls during the same time, and that will allow you to become more profitable and effective and have more time to go out after new business, like we've said. Inside sales are readily available, like we discussed. They're in every market, so don't let that be a deterrent because you will find them. Increased customer satisfaction and identifies more opportunities. Many times when we have inside sales reps start calling on customers, they will say, well, this is great. I haven't heard from you guys for a long time. So again, you're re-engaging with these customers that maybe were overlooked before because your outside salespeople were focused on the larger accounts, so now you can become more strategic with those other layers or smaller accounts. And it renews customer relationships with smaller customers, just like I mentioned. inside sales can also really assist the outside reps in a couple ways. So there's an assisted selling model where with accounts that maybe have many different locations, inside sales can help with a lot of the administration and maybe contacting different levels of decision makers within that organization, and outside sales can focus on the key people. So that's kind of the assisted selling model. But inside sales can also help when it comes to lead generation for outside sales. So a very typical example would be an outside salesperson is out making their calls, and they go by an existing business, and they say, well, you know, I'd like to try to get in here, but every time I stop in, they won't let me talk to anyone. So they give the inside sales rep that information. They call and qualify that, get the decision maker, and pass it on to outside sales, and suddenly you have a contact and you're able to get an appointment. And again, that's part of that whole making inside sales an integral part of the organization. And once you do that, you'll have complete buy-in from your outside reps. Another great advantage of inside sales team is that if you have someone who is going on vacation or a leave of absence, or maybe someone resigned or retired and you have a vacant territory, inside sales can step in and handle that account base for you. So that's a very good use of inside sales. And then information is acquired and relayed quickly through inside sales. So when you have people that are making multiple touches during the day, and if there's something going on in the marketplace or something going on with your account base, inside sales will always find out about that before an outside salesperson. And once they find that out, they can quickly relay that to the sales manager, and based on what it is, they can react quickly and then share that with field sales. So information really moves quickly when you have inside sales. Some of the best practices that we see is inside sales should really replicate the duties of outside sales. So again, train them just like you would outside sales, and make their duties and job responsibilities the same. If you're going to have multiple people in an inside sales team, make sure that you have an inside sales supervisor. And if you don't have a large inside sales team, so let's say your inside sales team is less than 6 people, you can also have a working supervisor. So maybe they're spending 50% of their time calling on accounts, and the other 50% of the time is spent supervising the other inside sales reps. My recommendation for hiring is that you hire someone with a minimum of 2 years of inside sales experience. And this is really important because turnover in any sales organization, and specifically in inside sales, is not good. So we want to hire people that have chosen inside sales as their career, and if you do that, you'll be much more successful and limit your turnover. Incorporating inside sales into your overall sales organization, we've hit that home a couple times here, but it is really important, so that's a key takeaway. Establish clear metrics and growth goals, and you'll want to monitor these on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis. And another way of doing this is whatever you have in line for your outside sales team, it should be replicated with inside sales, but just make sure that you're looking at those weekly activities maybe more in depth, because it's more important for inside sales what their daily, weekly activities are. Segment your customers and create a contact strategy. So if you identify 100 customers that would be ideally suited for inside sales, make sure that you segment those customers, and then based upon their size or strategic nature, that you have a contact strategy that fits them. So we want to be focusing on our larger customers more than our smaller customers. And if you create that call strategy, contact strategy up front, it'll really help you moving forward. Define and utilize the sales process. Another way to look at the sales process is most companies have a sales process, and you certainly want to follow that, but in inside sales, it's also important to create kind of a call flow. So you want to identify the 3 or 4 things that you want to accomplish on every call, and make sure you create a process to guide the reps through that call process, and then do coaching and monitoring to make sure that they're adhering to that process. It's also very important to create a bonus and incentive plan based on your key performance indicators. A lot of people think that inside sales is perfect for commission, and I don't recommend the commission. I think if you create an incentive plan based on the weekly and quarterly metrics, and then a bonus plan based on year-end growth, that is the best utilization of a comp plan for inside sales, because commission may not be as lucrative for inside sales because they don't have the large accounts with as big of opportunities and growth opportunities. So bonus and incentive is the best way to go. CRM is an absolute must for inside sales. So make sure you have a CRM system in place. I've worked with many CRMs throughout my career, and I've found that even a basic CRM for inside sales is adequate. You really need to do this because when you're handling 100, 200, sometimes even 500 or 600 accounts, there's no way you can do this without a good CRM system behind your inside salesperson. And then transfer accounts in and out of inside sales when it makes good strategic sense. And what I mean by that is if you have an account that's in inside sales and through working with them, that account begins to grow significantly, or you identify growth opportunities, or they become, more strategic, or their business is a little bit more complicated due to building that relationship, you uncover these things, and it may make strategic sense to have an outside salesperson call on them. Conversely, if you have an outside salesperson that is calling on some accounts and they begin to understand that inside sales isn't trying to take their job away, so in other words, there's buy-in, they will identify accounts where they say, hey, I haven't had to stop in and visit Terry, for 2 months, and regardless if I call on him or not, he still orders. That's a perfect example of account that can move from outside to inside sales. And at a minimum, I would say you should look at your accounts on an annual basis and maybe transfer in or out, and a lot of companies do it on a quarterly basis. So make sure that you have a good plan to do that. So utilizing CRM to fully leverage inside sales. As we discussed, CRM is a must. It's really a management tool that drives your sales process. So identify what it is that's important on every one of your calls and make sure that you're utilizing CRM to drive that. It will manage all of your follow-up activities. So again, when you're working with hundreds of customers, you need a tool to help you drive that contact strategy, and CRM is the best way to do that. And obviously it's also a great time management tool, both for inside or outside sales, but I think it becomes even more important for inside sales. It will track all of your activities and create reports for key metrics. So when a typical inside sales rep gets ready to call their customer, they'll be reviewing CRM to see what they did on their last call, see what opportunities they're working on, and then they take that into that call so they're prepared to continue to work through the sales process. And then it obviously manages your opportunity pipeline. One of the things that I hear more and more sales managers say as I've been in this business is if the opportunity isn't in CRM, it doesn't exist. So again, managing your opportunity pipeline in CRM is a must. So here we have some dashboards, and that's another important reason for CRM and inside sales. You can look at each inside sales rep. So in the dashboard here, we can see the leads by source. We have the incoming leads analysis by month. We have share of wallet or cross-selling by department. And then we can also take a look at the top 10 opportunities. So these dashboards will really become an integral part of the manager's duties when you have an inside sales team. Obviously, it helps collect and close opportunities. So there's different ways to slice and dice all that data. So dashboards are great for that. As I mentioned, tracking cross-sells and upsells. That there's many dashboards that can help you accomplish that. And it's going to give you a view of the landscape, right? So it'll help you identify trends, competitive information, and obviously it can be a great tool to help you automate your mass communications. And if you're doing any type of lead generation or prospecting I believe you should have some type of campaign or strategy to do multiple touches through CRM to your customer account base to increase your effectiveness in prospecting or generating leads. Okay, so what do those weekly activities look like? So this is just a quick dashboard of an inside sales rep for a given week. So right here you can see that Mallory did 197 calls to her account base. She had 69 emails, didn't have any facts or tasks for that week, but she also created 3 new opportunities and generated 18 quotes. So this is a very typical dashboard on the weekly activities for an inside sales rep. So a couple of case studies just to show you how inside sales can be utilized. So earlier in my career, I worked with a Fortune 100 company that was looking to reallocate some resources from smaller to larger strategic accounts. And they really wanted to keep these customers, but they weren't concerned with growth. They just didn't want to lose them. So really it was, hey, call these customers, reach out to them. If you can keep them, that would be success. Well, an inside sales team was created. We were responsible for about $13 million in annual sales in the beginning. We started with 3 account managers / inside sales rep and a customer service rep. And by the time we were done and fully had this team up and running, we had achieved 103% of the goal, and the concept of inside sales was so new, and it was adapted into this organization that they kept identifying more and more accounts to come into inside sales once they realized you could not only maintain an account base but grow an account base. And through some acquisitions and again transferring new accounts to inside sales, what was once 13 million was now over 20 million in annual sales volume with over 20 inside sales reps. And on that team, we achieved 22 consecutive quarters of goal achievement, and we won 3 Circle of Excellence awards for the top performing sales team. So this is a very big example of inside sales, but it just shows you what you can do. Moving to maybe some of the more smaller inside sales teams that I've worked with, we had a marketer that was seeking to implement a sales program to augment their existing team. So here at Ledgeview Partners, we worked with that marketer to put together a job posting and job requirements, and we helped them hire an inside sales supervisor and the inside sales representatives. We interviewed the candidates, made recommendations on hiring, and then put together a strategic training to get that team really up and running. And it resulted in over 1,000 accounts being transferred to inside sales. They sold over 97,000 in fuel and lubricants to these same accounts, and that was all new incremental business. And they liked the concept so much that they currently have 4 inside sales reps. So in this particular case, we helped them build their inside sales team. Another example, a marketer was looking to outsource sales for their smaller customers. So again, they partnered with Ledgeview, and we created an inside sales role utilizing a professional inside sales rep, and we mirrored the duties of their outside sales team, and built that program and put this person into place. And they started calling over the phone and improved the concept, and they were in the beginning selling fuel and lubricants, and they became so strategic that they also started selling for another division. And the results in the first month, we did over close to 26,000 in new sales was captured, 29,000 in new fuel sales, and an additional 4,800 for that other division. Through the first 12 months, that inside sales rep had exceeded their annual fee, and it was so successful that the client added another inside sales rep. So in fact, they're looking to add another one, so they'll be up to 3. So again, this was an outsourced inside sales partnership with Ledgeview. So now that we've shown you a lot about inside sales, how can you partner with Ledgeview to create inside sales or utilize some of our other business services? So we can help you with inside sales and customer care, and we do that in a few different ways. You can do an outsource model where we'll have full account management or a customer care representative for you. We can also do prospecting or lead generation from you, and we will also do blitzing. What blitzing really is where you have distributors. You work with the distributors and call on their end customers to create pull at the distributor level. So that's called blitzing. We can work with you in all of those areas on an outsourced basis. We can also help you in training for full account management, customer care, and prospecting. So if you want to build your own, we can help you in that area. And we'll also consult with you on, full account management, customer care. We can also do customer service satisfaction surveys for you. We can do compliance coaching with your existing customer care or inside sales team. We have a secret shopper program where we'll actually audit your existing sales team to find out how effective they are with your customers. And we can obviously do coaching for your inside sales team and your customer care team, and then based on those results, create a customized training to help you in those areas. So those are just a few ways Ledgeview can partner with you in these areas. And with that, I'd like to thank you for attending the webinar today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.